Hi, I'm LaQuincey Reed, and I'm here with Jennifer Woods. Jennifer Woods is also a past artist in residence here at the Skirvin space. So, Jennifer, go ahead and give an introduction about yourself and kind of what you do.
Well, I'm Jennifer Woods, and I'm a jewelry designer. When I was here at the Skirvin, I was designing 10 jewelry collections based on the 10 geophysical land regions in Oklahoma. So I pulled the colors and textures, from those land regions and made jewelry, that was my inspiration for the jewelry. And then now I have a little shop in the Paseo district called JW Jewelry and Home, where I sell my jewelry all the time, and just doesn't have to fit in with a theme. It's just whatever I feel like making that day. So
Okay. So which space artist were you? Were you the
2019 to 2020. So my experience ended early because of the pandemic.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. So how long did you actually get here? Because you're supposed to have a year, and then it got
6 months.
You got 6 months.
Mm-hmm. I got 6 months. That's okay though.
Did you get a chance to go through all the different geological? No.
No, I was about halfway through.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried to space it exactly where at 6 month mark I would have 5 done, and I had just really finished up the 5th one, and then it closed. So.
Mm-hmm. So which regions did you work with? Did you get finished when you were working here?
Let's see. I don't remember all of them now, like just off the top of my head.
Yeah, just off the top of your head.
Let's see. I did the Gypsum Hills collection. Let me look at my paper. Okay, let's see. I still have all this paperwork from when I was there.
Proposal?
Yeah, just because it's sort of special to keep it. But okay, so I did the Arbuckle Mountains region, the Gypsum Hills or Glass Hills region. I did the Red Bed Plains, and let's see, there was one more. I think it was the Wichita Mountain region.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were a lot of those pendants, necklaces, rings, earrings? Was it the collection a full set where it was a necklace, a pendant, or like what?
Well, they didn't always match a necklace.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't always a set, but
Okay.
there were a certain number of, like, I think 10 necklaces, and then so many pairs, like 20 pairs of earrings, and then so many bracelets. So
Okay.
I kind of designed the typical number for a collection.
Okay.
But then they were one of a kind instead of mass producing a whole lot. They were one of a kind.
So because I know nothing about jewelry. How big is a typical collection? Is it 20 pieces, 10 pieces, 5 pieces?
It can vary, really,
Okay.
depending on the designer and how big of an operation that they have.
Mm-hmm.
But typically, a collection would be about 10 necklaces, and then about double that amount of earrings,
Mm-hmm.
and then probably 10 bracelets. I have it all in my notes. I don't remember exactly. But some people, some people only specialize in bracelets, so they'll make a lot of bracelets and very few, necklaces or earrings, things
Okay.
like that.
All right. So let's talk about how you became a jewelry artist. What was your start? Like, how did you gravitate toward that? Like,
Toward jewelry.
yeah, jewelry or just art in general?
Well, my grandmother was an artist, and
Mm-hmm.
I grew up living with her a lot of the time, and so she would drag me around to art classes and to when she would enter paintings, in
Mm-hmm.
shows. So I just kind of tagged along all the time, and then we also traveled a lot throughout Oklahoma and Arkansas and Missouri, and we would always go to little shops. They have so many cute little, or they used to, I haven't been in so long, but shops where they sell, antiques and homemade jewelry. And so I bought a lot of Native American jewelry pieces then,
Okay.
and I learned how to identify stones and which ones I liked and what the properties were, things like that. So as an adult, I didn't study jewelry design or art in college, but when I finished college, I really felt the need to be creative again. And I love jewelry, and I always wanted to make it, and there weren't really classes around here back then, especially. This was 20 years ago, so
Yeah.
I just taught myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were you looking at to kind of teach yourself? Were you looking into books? Were you reaching out to other artists? Were you taking workshops? What was...
Well, then I read a lot of magazines, like a lot
Okay.
of, they had beading magazines, and websites even then 20 years ago weren't what they are now. The web didn't have all the tutorials and things that it does now. So I read books and magazines basically, and learned the techniques from. And then there's a lot of trial and error that goes along with that too.
All right, so I was looking at your pieces, and a lot of them seem like they're forgive me if I'm mischaracterizing it.
It's
It
okay.
seems like there's a lot of simple geometric shapes, a lot of straight lines. That was kind of a recurring theme that I saw, was a lot of straight lines, a lot of that there are curves, like even with the necklace that you have now.
Right,
It's
yeah.
very gentle and subtle curves. How would you describe your style? Am I mischaracterizing it at all?
No, I think that's right, and I think that's the evolution of it. That's kind of where I'm landing now, and it fits along with my design aesthetic overall. Like even with my home, I like clean lines, straight lines. I like modern, but I love the character that the natural stones bring in, and I love the warmth that they bring in. So I really like playing around with the shapes and the textures. So no, you're not mischaracterizing at all. I think that's a good characterization.
And then the other question I had, you said that you use stones. How much of what you make, I even saw a piece that had turquoise, but it was pink, and it had the brass, the scallop brass. I really like that piece.
Oh yeah,
And
I like that
what
piece too.
what are, I know you talked about using stones and things like that. Do you use, is it, I don't even know what you call it, manufactured stone, where they take a stone and they have they crush it up and use the resin? What is the process for you selecting your materials?
Okay. Well, really selecting the materials when I see something that's just really pretty, kind of like when you buy clothes or when you buy anything, like it's something aesthetic. If I think it's really pretty and I'm drawn to it, then I will buy it and make it work. Or sometimes I have an idea already of what I want, and then I go seek those materials out. I've been designing jewelry for so long. I have a lot of wholesale contacts and accounts. And I have a good idea of what people's material is going to look like who has the quality stones and things like that. So, am I answering your question? What was it again? How do I go about
just selecting your materials, yeah.
I use a lot of semi-precious gemstones because that was sort of my first love in searching for jewelry with my grandmother and looking at jewelry all my life, wearing jewelry all my life. I've always liked the stones and the beads and the pearls and things like that, things that come from the earth. So, and I look a lot at shape. I like faceted, like these are faceted beads that are sparkly, but they also are very natural looking. Well, they're natural. So I a lot of times really I gravitate toward things that are faceted, or at least adding something faceted or metallic into each piece, so it has a little bit of sparkle. And then I love using brass. I love those brass scallops. I love these brass bars. And then with my ear wires, something that's going to actually go through a person's skin, I will use higher quality materials like 14 karat gold fill or sterling silver. So that part is easy. I always know I'm going to use those materials on the ear wires. But as far as the other materials go, I mean, I've used wood. I've used things like repurposed items from old jewelry. It just really, if I like the way it looks, I'm going to make it work,
So I guess another question, because I cast in bronze, and bronze can be patinaed and everything like that. Whenever you're selecting your metals, do you have a patina, or do you like to let the natural glow of the metal show? Like, how do you go about finishing the metals? Because I know with my pieces, if you overhandle something, that patina is going to be gone. So how do you handle the fact that metal kind of changes with the handling and touching and fondling and things like that?
Right.
Or do you even think about that?
I don't worry about it so much. If I'm making a piece, and I like it when the brass is shiny, and so I have some polishing cloths that I'll run it over there quickly, but I'm not going to take an hour and make sure everything is super shiny, because it's just going to patina again. But I want to make sure it's got that newish feeling or the new look. Now, some things I buy are already patinaed, and then they're like, if you put something in like the liver of sulfur solution, it's not going to, it's not going to be shiny again, and it's not going to really, you're not going to notice if it tarnishes. So some things, if I want something to look older, then I will buy it purposefully already patinaed and then not really mess with it too much.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
okay.
You're not super concerned, but you do want to have a finish, so when someone buys it,
right,
they're buying a product, and then.
And I will shine up, the ear wires and things. If someone buys it, if it needs a little shine, I have a cloth that really quickly handles that. And my pieces are so small, so I can quickly. And then I also have some little, what are they called? They're anti-tarnish strips that
Yeah.
I will put inside of a little plastic bag, and I put like sterling silver earrings or something in there and seal it. So then that way I don't have to worry about it patinaing, or looking any different from the time I sell it to the time they get it home.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Okay.
I'll help them out a little bit.
So that answers the question.
Okay.
So I was when I was in your store, I was wanting to buy my wife something, and she's really kind of like hesitant because she didn't feel like we should be spending money on but I like buying her jewelry.
Oh.
But one thing that I was going to ask is, how does someone go about commissioning something from you? Do they come in with a drawing and say, hey, I want something like this, and you kind of go back and forth? Or do they come in with a drawing and say, I want this, and you say, all right, I got you? Or do they come in and just give you a vague idea and you run with it? Or is it a combination of all those things?
It really depends on the person commissioning. Because I've had plenty of people that just give me a vague idea, or they say, I want it to look like this, but maybe with this color stone or with that. And I go, okay, and I make it up, and they take it, and it's fine. And then other times, people will specify exactly, and I will work with them and let them look through the beads based on what they've told me, the colors and the beads I think that will work, and then they can choose. So I've done that before too. And if someone has something that's super duper specific that I'm not sure I can do, or that I'm nervous I'll mess up, a lot of times I will just be like, I don't know if I can do that for you.
Yeah.
But most of the time I do. And no one's ever brought me a diagram or anything, like a drawing, but that would be cool. I'd be interested in working with,
So kind of the current state of jewelry making. I'm not in that world. I don't know that world very well. So in your opinion, what's the current state of somebody who's a custom jeweler? Is this a field that's kind of growing in popularity? Is it something that is really hard to break into? Like, how do you feel the current state of it is going?
I think that everybody knows someone who makes jewelry.
Yeah.
And so I think that a lot of people try it, and I think that's great. I think it's fun to see what other people do. I think that it's harder to make it a career decision, and you have to be really good, and you have to not be afraid that your pieces are going to fall apart, which everybody goes through when they first start making something. Is this going to hold up? What's this going to look like? And is it going to break? Or is it going to, if you're an artist, like a painter or someone who does prints, is this going to fade? You have to like really hone that technique. And some people are natural at it, and some people go to school for it, things like that. Am I beating around the bush?
No.
I'm not sure exactly. I think that it takes a lot of time and dedication to really make sure everything is quality and solid, and so that part can take so long that by the time you get to selling it, you might be finished with it, or you might not even make it past that phase. That's what I see from a lot of people. I used to make jewelry, but I was afraid it would break. It always broke on me. I used to make jewelry, but and then it's a very expensive hobby though, so a lot of times people will amass a huge amount of stuff, and it's really expensive, and it takes up a lot of space, as any artist, right? Anytime you try a new hobby. But I would suggest, if anybody wanted to get into that field, to really study up on your techniques, maybe take some classes, and not go too far, not buy everything all at once. Start out with, I want to make a necklace that looks like this, and then work on that, and then wear it around, and if it then you can hone that craft and figure out, it's a little catchy in this spot, maybe I shouldn't use that material, or maybe I should learn how to connect that a little bit better, things like that.
So I think covered all of our base. There's one other question I do have for you. During your time here, what's one thing that you kind of learned while you were in here? I know your time was kind of shortened because of COVID, but what's one thing that you learned while being in here?
With my art necessarily, or just
in general?
In general, I learned that there are regulars for the red piano bar.
Yeah.
No, let's see. What did I learn? I learned that having a dedicated space and really like nice, quiet time, and a space you feel really good in, to create is important. It was important for me.
Yeah.
And cleaning, I never really cleaned up my mess a lot before. I would just make a mess and then leave it.
Mm-hmm.
But in here, because there's windows, I would tidy up, my space. And I had to bring a lot of things with me and take them back. I didn't leave my jewelry materials here.
Yeah.
And so I really had to think beforehand, like, what am I going to make today? What collection? So what color, look back at my colors. What colors do I need? And it really helped me plan a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
and put more thought into what I'm going to make, and put more thought in collections too. And I mean, it really kind of taught me how to make a collection.
Yeah.
So there's that. I'm just going all over the place. I
No,
know.
you're fine. You're
But
great. This is great.
Once I'm sitting here, I get back into that feeling.
Yeah.
I loved being in here.
Yeah.
I think I've lost my train of thought. So planning,
Yeah.
cleaning up after myself.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that I took it with me a little bit, but
Yeah.
not to the extent I was here. And then having a really nice, pretty space to work in.
That's kind of the same kind of sentiment I get. Like, I have a studio at the backside of my house, and I'm comfortable-ish. During the summer, it's kind of tough because my two sons will be quiet. I can be sitting on the couch, and then I'll be like, okay, I can sneak away and work. And as soon as I sit down to do something, 10, 15 minutes later, I'm having to break up a fight.
Yeah.
So it's really been great for me to be here, and you do you're more aware of your surroundings with the windows.
People are watching and don't just dance, in the studio. Like, I mean, you can, but
I don't dance at all.
you don't. Oh, I would sometimes be in here at night, and the music would come on, and I'd be dancing, and then I got an email once that said, "I saw you dancing," and I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah. Well, I guess the leaf blower is going, so.
Oh.
I guess
Time's up.
I guess that's our cue to go look at your piece upstairs, and we'll talk about that, and I'll send you on your way.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
Let's go. All right, we're here with Jennifer's piece. It's a necklace. What was the name of it again? I'm sorry.
It doesn't have a name.
It doesn't have a name.
No, but it is from the Ozark Plateau region.
Okay. What are the materials of it?
Honestly, okay, so these stones that make up the little round beads, those are called Myfon stones, which it's so interesting. They don't come from even the U.S., but they're used in Asia to purify water. So they'll put the Myfon stone and pour water over it. But because there are so many streams and springs, natural springs in the Ozark Plateau region, I use those. And then this is a form of jasper. I'm not sure exactly which variety, but the thin part is jasper, and then it has copper for the metal.
Okay. So you talked about being from the Ozark Plateau region. Where exactly is that? I'm assuming it's over near Arkansas.
Yeah, it's up in the far northeast corner of Oklahoma.
And not the what you said, the Myfon stone.
Myfon.
And then what was the other stone again? I'm sorry.
Jasper.
Jasper is I'm assuming that Jasper is native to that area, correct?
No, it's not. Just because Oklahoma we don't really produce any minerals that can be made into gemstones, or we don't produce. I think we mine gypsum here.
Yeah.
But that's way too soft to use. So it doesn't come from that area, but the colors are to represent, and the textures to represent the area.
So it's more of a representation
Yes.
of that area with, I guess, the Arkansas River and the water and everything like that.
That, and then there's a lot of fruit crops because of all the trees. So the strawberries, things like that, the fruits, so the reds represent the fruits.
Okay. So is this kind of typical of your style, or is this to me, this looks a little bit different from some of the things that I've seen you do. So was this stepping outside the box for you, or was it just a variation of kind of what you already do? Or
I think that this was sort of a bridge between what I had been doing into what I'm doing now.
Okay.
And so what I'm doing now is a lot more modern,
Okay.
and it has a lot more straight lines and things like that, like you said.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any social media things or your website? Can you share that with everyone?
Sure, absolutely. If you go to jenniferwoodsjewelry.com, then that's my website with my blog and everything on it. Shopjw.com is also what I'm working on for my online store, and it's there on jenniferwoodsjewelry.com under shop. That's just a faster way if you want to shop. And then Instagram is at jenniferwoodsjewelry.com or
Okay.
jenniferwoodsjewelry.
And they can come to your store on the Paseo and browse around, and you have stuff that's already made, not just from you, there's other artists there as well, correct?
Yes, I make all the jewelry except for some leather earrings that I don't work with leather, but I have other local artists in my shop as well. And then I have some home decor and art, other items besides jewelry.
Okay. So when you say home decor, is that like, is it?
Pots and
Pots?
mostly pots and vases, pillows, rugs.
Okay. So just kind of anything to make your house look nice
Mhm.
and to make you look nice.
That's right, yes. Design all around, yes.
Okay. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with everybody?
Thank you for listening to my talk, to my interview, and thank you for allowing me to, spread the word and share my jewelry with other people.
Thank you for coming by, and that's a wrap.